The council chamber was a large circular room with 7 raised platforms. Each platform held 3 representatives from each of the Galactic Council's member species. In the center was a round area where speakers stood to address the council. Guards brought June to this center spot. He stood with his hands still bound, looking up at the 21 alien faces staring down at him. Admiral Tai and Lieutenant Minna stood to one side. "This is the human with the precursor marking?" asked a tall Cephian with pale gold skin. His voice was translated into English by a small device on June's collar. "Yes, Counselor Da," Tai confirmed. "Private June Kim of Earth." The Cephian studied June with large, intelligent eyes. "Show us the marking," he commanded. A guard pulled up June's sleeve to reveal the tattoo. A floating camera zoomed in, projecting a giant image of the tattoo on the main screen for all to see. The chamber filled with whispers and gasps. "It is authentic," said an Aldari representative. "The royal seal and coordinates match our partial records." "The human must be studied," insisted Counselor Da. "If the precursors chose him as a vessel for their knowledge, destroying him would be sacrilege." "Destroying?" June asked, alarmed. A Vexen counselor with gray skin and narrow eyes leaned forward. "Humans are dangerous," he said coldly. "This could be a trap. Their military might be using this symbol to infiltrate our highest levels." "I'm not a spy," June protested. "I didn't even know what this symbol meant until today." The Vexen sneered. "Of course you would say that." A Krell representative pounded his rocky fist on the table. "We should extract the information from his mind and be done with him." "Mind extraction would kill him," Minna said quickly. "One human life versus the security of the galaxy," the Krell asked. "The choice is simple." June felt fear rise in his chest. These aliens were casually discussing his death. He pulled against his restraints, but they held firm. "I'm right here," he finally shouted, his voice echoing in the chamber. "And I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just a soldier who got lost." Silence fell across the room. The alien seemed surprised by his outburst. "The human makes a valid point," said a new voice. An elderly female Aldari stood up slowly. "We are discussing his fate as if he were not present. This is beneath the dignity of the council." "High Counselor Jin," Tai acknowledged with a bow. "You honor us with your wisdom." The old Aldari stepped forward to the edge of her platform. Her forearms were thin with age, but her eyes were sharp. "Private Kim," she addressed June directly. "Do you understand what your tattoo might mean to the galaxy?" June swallowed hard. "Admiral Ta said it might lead to the precursor homeworld, and that I might have some of their DNA." "Yes," Jin nodded. "The precursors were the first advanced civilization in our galaxy. Their technology helped all our species reach the stars. Finding their homeworld has been our greatest quest for thousands of years." She paused, looking at the other council members. "And now, a human soldier appears with the key we have sought. Is this a coincidence, or the fulfillment of the precursor prophecy?" "Prophecy?" June asked. "That the children of Earth would awaken the precursor legacy," Jin explained. "We never understood why they would choose humans, a species that did not even exist when they vanished 50,000 years ago." Lieutenant Minna stepped forward. "High Counselor, if I may make a suggestion." Jin nodded permission. "Perhaps," Minna said, "we should let him prove it. If the coordinates on his arm truly lead to the precursor homeworld, we should follow them." She paused. "With the human." The chamber erupted in debate. Some counselors shouted approval, others warning. June stood in the center, watching the argument rage around him. Finally, High Counselor Jin raised all 4 of her hands for silence. "We will vote," she declared. "Shall we follow the coordinates to their destination, taking the human with us?" One by one, each counselor pressed a button on their console. June watched the tally appear on the large screen. 12 yes, 9 no. "It is decided," Jin announced. "We will seek the precursor homeworld, with Private Kim as our guide." June felt a strange mix of relief and new fear. He was not going to die today, but he was about to journey into the unknown, to a place that might hold the secrets of his own DNA, and the fate of humanity might depend on what they found there. The air on the precursor planet was clean and easy to breathe. June walked at the front of the group, with Admiral Tai, Lieutenant Mina, and several council representatives close behind. Security officers and scientists followed, scanning everything with their equipment. They approached the massive dome, which stood at least 500 meters tall. The surface looked like glass, but felt warm and slightly soft when June touched it. June walked slowly around the base of the dome. Something pulled him forward, like an invisible hand guiding his steps. He stopped at a specific spot and placed his hand against the dome's surface. The tattoo on his arm began to glow again. Suddenly, the material beneath his palm rippled like water. A doorway formed in the dome, large enough for even the tallest aliens to enter comfortably. "It responds to you," Ta said with wonder in his voice. June nodded and stepped through the entrance. The others followed cautiously. Inside was a vast city under the dome. Buildings of crystal and metal stretched upward, connected by transparent bridges. Everything was perfectly preserved, as if the inhabitants had just stepped out moments ago, not thousands of years in the past. "Incredible," whispered one of the scientists. "A complete precursor city, untouched by time." They walked along a wide path that led to a central structure. As they passed, lights activated automatically. Holographic images appeared in the air around them, scenes of daily life from the precursor civilization. The aliens in the images looked surprisingly similar to humans, but with slight differences. Their skin had a faint metallic sheen, and their eyes were larger with pupils shaped like stars. "They look almost human," Mina said, studying the images. "Or humans look almost like them," Jun replied quietly. They reached the central building, which opened for them just as the dome had. Inside was a circular room with a platform in the center. When June stepped onto it, the entire room came alive with light. A holographic figure appeared, a tall, elegant being with the same star-shaped pupils as in the other images. The figure spoke, and everyone heard it in their own language. "Welcome, descendants, and galactic neighbors. I am Seek, Chief Archivist of the Precursor Collective. If you are seeing this message, then the bloodline has endured, and the first child of Earth has returned home." The figure looked directly at June. "Your genetic signature confirms your heritage. You carry our legacy within you." "What legacy?" June asked. "What are you talking about?" "We were not just technologically advanced," Seek explained. "The precursors were genetically adaptive. When our civilization faced extinction from a gamma-ray burst, we sent our genetic material to promising worlds. Earth received our final embassy." Admiral Ta stepped forward. "He carries your genes." "All humans do," Seok replied. "But in some, like this one, the connection is stronger." His ancestors maintained a purer genetic line, allowing him to access our systems and hear our message. June thought about his recurring dreams, the voices I heard, the symbol my captain designed. "Echoes of ancestral memory," Seok confirmed. "When humanity reached the stars, our dormant legacy would awaken. The first human to reach this place would activate the inheritance protocol." As if on cue, a section of the floor opened. A platform rose, carrying what looked like a control panel made of crystal. "What inheritance?" June asked. "Knowledge," Seok answered. "Technology. And the truth about the threat that still lurks beyond the galaxy's edge. The reason we scattered our children among the stars." The hologram waved its hand, and the walls of the chamber became a star map. A dark shadow moved at the edge of the galaxy. "The Devourers," Seok said, his voice grave. "They destroyed our civilization. Our calculations predict their return within 1 generation of your homecoming." June stared at the shadow on the map. "What are they?" "A species that consumes all life and technology it encounters, growing stronger with each world it destroys. We fought them for centuries before we fell. Our final act was to preserve our knowledge and bloodline, hoping our descendants would be better prepared when the Devourers returned. Siak looked at the council representatives. We did not anticipate that our children would be isolated from galactic society. The council members shifted uncomfortably. How long? Admiral Tai asked. How long until these Devourers return? A hologram checked the star map. Based on current stellar positions, approximately 30 Earth years. June felt the weight of this revelation settle on his shoulders. He turned to face the Admiral and Council representatives. Now do you understand? He asked. This isn't about humans versus aliens anymore. It's about the survival of all life in the galaxy. 3 days after the Council's vote, June stood on the observation deck of the Council ship Arbiter. It was the largest vessel he had ever been on, stretching over 2 kilometers from bow to stern. The ship carried representatives from all 7 council species, along with scientists, military personnel, and a full crew. June had been given better quarters and clean clothes. His energy cuffs were removed, but a small tracking device was placed on his ankle. He wasn't a prisoner anymore, but he wasn't free either. Enjoying the view? A voice asked behind him. June turned to see Lieutenant Minna approaching. Over the past few days, she had been assigned as his official liaison. She was the only one who treated him like a person rather than a scientific curiosity or a potential threat. It's different from human ships, June said, looking out at the stars. Everything is bigger, designed for many different species. Minna nodded. The Council believes in accommodation for all. At least, for all member species. But not humans, Jones said quietly. No, Minna admitted. Not humans. They stood in silence for a moment, watching as the ship prepared to enter FTL travel. The stars outside the viewports seemed to stretch. Why does the Council fear humans so much? June finally asked. It was a question that had bothered him for days. Minna seemed to consider whether to answer honestly. Your species achieved faster than light travel, while still engaged in warfare among yourselves, she said. No other species has done that. Is that so strange? June asked. Yes, Minna said firmly. Most species unite their planet before reaching for the stars. They solve their internal conflicts first. Humans. She paused. Humans took your wars into space. We're trying to be better, Jum defended. Perhaps, Minna said. But the Council saw your history and decided humanity needed more time to mature before joining galactic society. The ship jumped to FTL speed. Outside the viewport, stars blurred into streaks of light. How long until we reach the coordinates? June asked, changing the subject. 2 weeks, Minna replied. If they're correct. And if they're not? If this is all just a strange coincidence? Minna's expression grew serious. Then the Council will be very disappointed. And you will be in a difficult position. Before June could respond, Admiral Ta entered the observation deck. Both June and Minna straightened as he approached. Lieutenant, Private Kim. Tay acknowledged them. We've set course for the coordinates. The science team wishes to conduct more tests on you. Private. June sighed. He had already undergone 3 days of scans and samples. What kind of tests this time? Brain activity, Ta said. Specifically during sleep. We want to monitor your dreams. June felt uncomfortable with the idea, but knew he had little choice. If it helps us understand what's happening, I'll do it. Ta nodded approvingly. Good. Report to Medical Bay in 1 hour. After the Admiral left, Minna gave June a sympathetic look. The scientists are excited. They've never studied someone with potential precursor DNA before. Lucky me, June said dryly. For the next 2 weeks, the journey continued. June spent his days being tested and interviewed. At night, the scientists monitored his brain while he slept. His dreams became more frequent and vivid, stars forming patterns, voices speaking in an unknown language, and now new images. A blue-green planet wrapped in swirling energy. When he reported these dreams, The scientists grew more excited. They believed he was seeing the precursor homeworld. On the 14th day, June was called to the bridge. Admiral Tai, Lieutenant Mina, and several council representatives waited for him. "We're approaching the coordinates," Tai informed him. "Initial scans show nothing. No planets, no stars, just empty space." The Vexen representative who had wanted Jum destroyed looked angry. "The human has wasted our time." "Wait," said the science officer, looking at instruments. "There's something strange about this region. Energy readings are fluctuating." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. The view screen showed space itself seeming to bend and distort. "What's happening?" June asked, grabbing a railing as the ship shuddered. "Some kind of spatial anomaly," Minna explained, her voice tense. "Almost like a hidden doorway," Tai finished, his eyes wide with realization. Before their eyes, space folded open like a curtain being pulled aside. And there, shimmering into existence where nothing had been before, hung a blue-green planet wrapped in swirling energy patterns, exactly like in Jum's dreams. 1 month after the discovery of the precursor homeworld, Jum stood in the great chamber of the Galactic Council. The circular room was packed with representatives from all 7 council species. For the first time in history, a delegation from Earth was also present. June wore a formal uniform with the Earth Defense Force insignia on the chest. Next to him stood Admiral Tai and Lieutenant Mina, who had become his strongest allies among the council forces. High Counselor Jin called the session to order. "We gather today to address the greatest threat our galaxy has faced in 50,000 years. Admiral Ta will present his report." Ta stepped forward. "Honorable Council, our expedition to the precursor homeworld has confirmed what many thought was only legend. The precursors were real, their technology was advanced beyond our understanding, and they were destroyed by an enemy they called the Devourers." Images from the precursor world appeared on the giant screens around the chamber. The council members murmured as they saw the preserved city and the warning about the approaching threat. "The precursors left us a warning," Tai continued. "The Devourers will return within 30 years. They left their defensive technology in a form that only their descendants, humans, can fully access, but it requires all our species working together to implement." The Aldari ambassador rose. "We have misjudged humans," he admitted. "We saw their warlike nature as primitive rather than recognizing it as preparation. The precursors chose their hairs well." June stepped forward. "My people don't want to rule," he said clearly. "We want to survive. All of us." The coordinates in my tattoo weren't just a location. They were a timeline. The Devourers return in 30 years. He rolled up his sleeve, revealing his tattoo. New symbols had appeared around the original design during their visit to the precursor world. The tattoo now glowed softly with internal light. "This is no longer about human versus alien," he said. "It's about the living versus extinction. The precursors believed we could only win together." June touched his tattoo, and a hologram appeared above it. Detailed plans for defensive systems, weapons, and shields that could protect planets from the Devourers. "The precursors gave us the tools," he explained, "but we need to build them together. Human genetic code can activate the technology, but we need the resources and knowledge of all council species to make it work." Lieutenant Minna stood. "I move to formally welcome Earth into the Galactic Council, with all rights and protections thereof." The chamber fell silent. This proposal would end decades of isolation for humanity. "Second," said Admiral Ta. High Counselor Jin called for the vote. One by one, each council representative pressed a button on their console. June held his breath as the tally appeared on the main screen. The vote was unanimous. "Earth is now a full member of the Galactic Council," Jin announced, "and Private Jom Kim will serve as Earth's first council ambassador." Cheers erupted from the Earth delegation. June felt overwhelmed. 3 months ago, he had been a simple scout pilot. Now he represented his entire species on the galactic stage. As the formal ceremony concluded, Minna approached him. "Ambassador Kim, she said with a smile. Has a nice ring to it. I'm still getting used to it, June admitted. There's so much work ahead. Yes, she agreed. 30 years to prepare for the Devourers. But now we face them together. June looked down at his tattoo, which had started as a memorial to fallen friends. Now it represented so much more, a bridge between species and a warning of challenges to come. That evening, standing on a balcony overlooking the council capital city, June watched ships from a dozen worlds moving through the twilight sky. Tomorrow, the first joint Human Council defense team would begin work on the precursor technology. Admiral Todd joined him at the railing. Your capture by our patrol ship was the luckiest accident in galactic history, he said. Not an accident, June replied, touching his glowing tattoo. The precursors planned for this moment for 50,000 years. Ta nodded thoughtfully. The Council feared humanity's capacity for warfare. Now we understand it may be exactly what saves us all. As darkness fell, June looked up at the stars. Somewhere beyond them, the Devourers were coming. But they would not find an easy victory. They would find a galaxy united, ready to fight. And it had all begun with a tattoo on a human soldier's arm. Asterisk, the end asterisk. Private Jum Kim stared at the blinking red light on his ship's control panel. It wasn't supposed to do that. The small scout vessel shuddered, then began to drift. Not now, he muttered, hitting buttons and pulling levers. Nothing worked. The engine had died completely. Jum checked his location on the star map. He was far from any human outpost, drifting in what humans called the buffer zone, the empty space between Earth territories and Galactic Council space. No human ship was supposed to be here. It was against the treaty. He tried the emergency beacon, but hesitated before turning it on. A distress call might bring help from Earth, but it would take days. It might also bring the Galactic Council ships that patrolled this region. And they didn't like humans. Jum decided to risk it and switched on the beacon. Then he waited. 3 hours later, his scanner picked up a ship. It was large, much bigger than his small scout vessel. As it came closer, Jum saw the markings on its hull. His heart sank. It wasn't human. It was a Galactic Council patrol ship. The 7-species coalition that formed the Council had made their position on humans very clear. Earth was too violent, too unpredictable to join interstellar society. Humans were kept isolated, allowed only limited space travel within their own solar system. Any human found in Council space was treated as a threat. A bright light suddenly flashed outside his viewport. Then all systems went dead. The Council ship had hit him with an electromagnetic pulse, killing all power. June felt his ship jerk as the larger vessel locked on with a tractor beam. This is how I die, June thought as his small craft was pulled toward the Council ship's docking bay. When the airlock opened, 6 armed guards waited for him. They weren't human. 2 were Aldari, with their blue skin and 4 arms. 3 were Vexen, tall and thin with eyes that could see in the dark. The last one was a Krell, short but strong, with rocky skin that could stop bullets. Exit your vessel with hands visible, ordered one of the Aldari in accented human English. June knew fighting would be useless. He raised his hands and stepped out. I'm Private Jum Kim of Earth Defense Force, he said. My ship malfunctioned. I was not trying to enter Council space. The aliens didn't seem to care. They surrounded him, weapons ready. Remove your gear, ordered the Aldari. Jum slowly took off his tactical vest, utility belt, and boots. The aliens took his items and scanned him for weapons. Take him to detention level, the Aldari officer said. Admiral Ta will decide what to do with him when we reach the station. 2 guards grabbed Jum's arms and marched him through the ship. The corridors were tall and wide, built to accommodate many different alien species. Crew members stopped to stare at him. Some looked curious, others fearful. Humans had a reputation. They reached a cell block and pushed June into a small room with clear walls. A force field hummed into place across the entrance. The Admiral will see you soon, said one guard. Humans are not welcome in council space. Then they left him alone. June sat on the hard bench in his cell and tried to think. He had heard stories about captured human soldiers. None of those stories ended well. The council feared humans because Earth had developed faster than light travel while still fighting wars amongst themselves. No other species had done that. They thought humans were too dangerous. He rubbed his left forearm where his tattoo was, a series of numbers beneath a strange symbol. It was a memorial to his squad mates who had died during the Mars colony uprising 3 years ago. The numbers were their service IDs. The symbol was their squad insignia. June didn't notice the camera focusing on his arm, zooming in on the tattoo. He didn't see the alien guard's eyes widen, or hear the urgent call to the ship's commander. He didn't know that his life was about to change forever. June looked at the aliens who had entered the room. They stood against the wall, watching him with different expressions. Some seemed angry, others curious. The one called Mina sat across from him at the table. "State your full name and rank," Mina said. "Private June Kim, Earth Defense Force, Scout Division," June replied. He had been trained for capture situations. Name and rank only. "Why were you in council space?" Mina asked. "I wasn't trying to enter council space. My ship had a system failure. I was drifting." The Aldari in the corner made a noise that sounded like disbelief. "Humans always have excuses," he said. Mina held up her hand to silence him. "Your ship will be examined to confirm your story," she told June. "Now, I want to ask about something else." She touched her data pad, and a holographic image appeared above the table. It was a close-up of June's arm, showing his tattoo. "This marking on your skin," Mina said. "Explain its significance." June was surprised by the question. Why did they care about his tattoo? "It's a remembrance," he said carefully, "for fallen comrades." "The numbers," Mina pointed. "What do they mean?" "They're service IDs. My squad members who died during the Mars colony uprising 3 years ago." "And the symbol below them?" Mina asked, her voice tense. June looked at the circular design with 3 lines crossing through it. "That's our squad insignia. We called ourselves the Triad." The aliens exchanged glances. One of them whispered something that June couldn't hear. "Did you design this symbol yourself?" Mina asked. "No," June said. "Our squad leader, Captain Hoon, created it. He said he saw it in a dream. We all liked it, so we adopted it." More whispers passed between the aliens. June noticed they seemed excited or worried. He couldn't tell which. "Where is this Captain Hoon now?" asked a tall, thin Vexen. "Dead," June said flatly. "He died with the others on Mars. I'm the only one left." The room went quiet. Then the door opened and Admiral Tai entered. The other aliens stepped back respectfully. "Leave us," Tai ordered, "except for Lieutenant Mina." The other aliens filed out. Now only Ta, Mina, and June remained in the room. Tai sat down across from June. "Private Kim," he said, "I am Admiral Tai, commander of this vessel. I want to show you something." He placed a small device on the table. It projected a 3-dimensional image, an ancient stone tablet covered with symbols. In the center was the exact same symbol as June's tattoo. This artifact was discovered 200 years ago on a dead world at the edge of the galaxy, Tai explained. It is approximately 50,000 years old. It belongs to a civilization we call the Precursors. June stared at the image, confused. "I don't understand." "The symbol on your arm," Ta said, "is the royal seal of the Precursor ruling family. And the numbers," he paused, "appear to be spatial coordinates to their lost homeworld." "That's impossible," June said. "It's just a squad insignia. The numbers are service IDs." Mina leaned forward. "Did your Captain Hoon ever mention where he saw this symbol?" "You said he dreamed it." June thought back. He used to have recurring dreams. He said he saw strange symbols and heard voices speaking in an unknown language. but lots of soldiers have weird dreams. Tai and Minna exchanged a look. The precursors were known to be powerful telepaths, Ta said. Some believed they could project thoughts across time and space. A chill ran down Jun's spine. You think my captain was receiving messages from aliens who died 50,000 years ago? Perhaps not just your captain, Minna said, looking directly at Jun. Have you ever had unusual dreams, symbols or voices you couldn't explain? Jun was about to say no, but stopped. Since childhood, he'd had the same dream at least once a month, floating in darkness while stars formed patterns around him, and a voice speaking words he couldn't understand. He saw the aliens watching him closely. His reaction had given him away. You have, Ta said. It wasn't a question. Everyone on the bridge of the Arbiter stared in amazement at the planet that had appeared out of nowhere. It was beautiful, blue oceans, green lands, and swirling patterns of energy that looked like glowing rivers crossing its surface. The precursor homeworld, Admiral Ta whispered, hidden behind a quantum distortion field all this time. Impossible, said the Vexen representative. Our ships have scanned this sector for centuries. They wanted it to be found only when the time was right, Minna suggested, glancing at Jun. The science officer's console beeped urgently. Admiral, we're being scanned by extremely powerful energy sources from the planet's surface. Before Tai could respond, the ship shuddered. Red alert warnings flashed across every screen. Weapons systems are activating on the planet. The security officer shouted. They're targeting us. Raise shields, Tai ordered. Prepare for evasive action. Jun watched in horror as glowing points of light appeared on the planet below. The Arbiter's sensors indicated they were weapons powerful enough to destroy the ship with a single shot. They're locked onto us, the weapons officer reported, voice shaking. We can't escape in time. Jun felt a strange sensation in his head, like pressure building behind his eyes. Without thinking, he stepped forward and raised his hands. Wait, he called out. Don't fire. To everyone's surprise, the planet's weapons suddenly powered down. The glowing points dimmed and disappeared. What did you do? Tai asked, turning to Jun. I don't know, Jun said honestly. I just felt like I needed to say something. The science officer checked her readings. The scanning beam is still active, but it's changed frequency. It's focused directly on Private Kim. A beam of golden light suddenly shot from the planet, passing through the ship's hull as if it weren't there. It enveloped Jun, lifting him slightly off the floor. He felt no pain, only a warm tingling sensation. Everyone else on the bridge backed away, watching in shock. Jun's tattoo began to glow with the same golden light. Then a voice spoke in his mind, a voice he recognized from his dreams. But this time, he understood the words perfectly. The bloodline endures. Come home, child of Earth. The light vanished, and Jun dropped back to his feet. The bridge crew stared at him in silence. Did anyone else hear that? Jun asked. Admiral Ta shook his head. Hear what? A voice. It said, the bloodline endures. Come home, child of Earth. The words sent a shock through the bridge. Tai and Minna exchanged meaningful looks. It spoke to you directly, Minna said. In your mind. Jun nodded, and in perfect Korean, my native language. The communications console suddenly activated. A message appeared in multiple languages, including all 7 council languages and human English. Landing coordinates provided, the communications officer reported, and instructions for a safe approach path through the energy field. Admiral Tai turned to look at Jun with a mix of fear and respect. It appears, he said quietly, that the Council may have misjudged humanity's place in the galaxy. The ship began its careful descent to the planet's surface, following the provided path through the swirling energy fields. Jun watched as they approached a large continent surrounded by deep blue oceans. As they got closer, he could see the ruins of an ancient city. enormous structures of crystal and metal stretching for miles in every direction. In the center stood a massive domed building that seemed to be in perfect condition, unlike the partially damaged structures around it. The dome glowed with the same golden light that had scanned June. "That's our landing point," the pilot announced. "The coordinates lead directly to that central structure." As the Arbiter settled onto a vast landing platform near the dome, everyone prepared to disembark. Scientists gathered their equipment, security forces checked their weapons, and council representatives straightened their formal attire. Admiral Tai approached June. "Private Kim," he said formally, "it seems you are not just a guide, but an invited guest. Perhaps even the reason we are allowed to be here at all." June looked out the viewport at the alien city. Somehow, it felt familiar, as if he'd seen it before. "I'm ready," he said, though he wasn't sure if that was true. The ship's main door opened, and June took his first step onto the world of his ancestors. "Yes," June admitted, "I've had dreams since I was a child. I'm floating in space, and stars form patterns. A voice speaks to me in a language I don't know." Admiral Ta nodded as if this confirmed something important. He turned to Mina. "Show him the full translation of the tablet," he ordered. Mina adjusted the holographic display. The stone tablet appeared again, but now strange alien symbols transformed into English words. "We only translated this fully 10 years ago," Tai explained. "It says, when the children of Earth reach for the stars, our bloodline will awaken. The first to find the way home will activate the inheritance." June stared at the words, trying to understand. "Children of Earth, you think this means humans? The precursors vanished 50,000 years ago," Mina said, "long before your species developed civilization. Yet this tablet specifically mentions Earth. And now a human soldier appears with their royal seal tattooed on his arm, along with what might be coordinates to their lost homeworld." Tai added, "This cannot be coincidence." June shook his head. "This is crazy. I'm just a scout pilot. There's nothing special about me." Tai pressed a button on the table. A medical scanner extended from the ceiling and moved over June's body. "Your DNA," Ta said, watching the results appear on his screen. "It has markers we've never seen in humans before." "What does that mean?" June asked, growing more confused. "It means," Ta said slowly, "that you might not be entirely human, Private Kim." The room seemed to spin around June. Not human. That was impossible. He grew up on Earth with normal parents. He went to regular schools. He joined the military like thousands of others. The precursors were genetically advanced, Mina explained, seeing his confusion. They could encode information in DNA that would remain dormant for thousands of generations, then activate when needed, Tai finished. "Like now." June struggled to process this information. "You're saying I have alien DNA. That's why I have these dreams." "Not just you," Mina said. "Your captain had similar experiences. He created the symbol without knowing its true meaning. And the numbers he chose as service IDs match exact stellar coordinates." "If we're right," Ta said, "your tattoo is a map to the precursor homeworld. A map that was hidden in your captain's subconscious mind and is now marked permanently on your skin." June looked down at his tattoo. The symbol that had meant squad unity now seemed alien and strange. "What do you want from me?" he asked quietly. "The Galactic Council has searched for the precursor homeworld for centuries," Tai replied. "Their technology was far advanced beyond our own. Whoever finds it would gain enormous power." "Power you don't want humans to have," Jum guessed. Tai didn't deny it. Humans developed faster than light travel while still fighting wars among themselves. No other species has done this. The Council fears what humans might become if given access to precursor technology. The door opened, and a Council security officer entered. He whispered something urgent to Ta. "The full Council demands an emergency meeting about the human," Ta told Mina. "They're gathering now." Mina nodded. "What about him?" she asked. gesturing to June. Tai studied the human soldier for a long moment. Bring him to the council chamber. They need to see him for themselves. As the guards prepared to move June, Tai stepped closer and spoke quietly. Private Kim, if what we suspect is true, you may be more important to galactic history than you can imagine. For your sake and ours, I hope you're ready for what comes next. The guards led June from the room. His mind raced with questions. Was he really carrying ancient alien DNA? Could his tattoo actually lead to a lost civilization? And if it did, what would happen to Earth? As they walked through the ship's corridors, Jun noticed the alien crew members staring at him. But this time, they weren't looking at him with fear or disgust. They were looking at him with awe. Admiral Tai sat in his private office aboard the patrol ship. The tall, gray-skinned alien had commanded Council security forces for 20 years. He had dealt with many species, but humans always made him nervous. "Show me the prisoner footage again," he ordered. His aide, Lieutenant Mina, nodded and tapped the console. The wall screen lit up with a clear image of the human in his cell. The camera zoomed in on the man's arm, showing the tattoo in detail. Tai leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the strange symbol beneath the row of numbers. "It's not possible," he whispered. "Sir?" Mina asked. She was younger than Tai, with metallic skin that reflected the room's lights. 6 fingers on each hand moved quickly over the controls. "That symbol," Ta said, pointing. "Magnify it more." The image grew larger until the tattoo filled the screen. The symbol looked like a circle with 3 lines crossing through it. Small dots marked certain points where the lines met. "Run it through the ancient language database," Tide ordered. Mina did as instructed. A moment later, the computer beeped. A match was found. The screen split to show the matching image from the database. "Precursor script," Mina read aloud, her voice filled with surprise. "Category: Royal Seal. Age: estimated 50,000 standard years." "The numbers," Ta said suddenly. "They're not identification codes. They're coordinates." Mina looked at her commander with wide eyes. "Coordinates to what?" "If I'm right," Ta said slowly, "coordinates to the lost precursor homeworld." Mina gasped. Every spacefaring species knew about the precursors. They were the first advanced civilization in the galaxy, disappearing mysteriously 50,000 years ago. They left behind technology that helped other species reach the stars. Finding their homeworld was the greatest unsolved mystery in galactic history. "How could a human have this knowledge?" Mina asked. "Their species only achieved space travel a century ago. They haven't even fully colonized their own solar system." Ta stood up and paced the room. "I don't know, but I need to find out." He tapped his communication badge. "Security, bring the human to interrogation room 1. And summon all council representatives on board. Now." 20 minutes later, 7 aliens representing each council species gathered in the ship's conference room. The images from June's tattoo displayed on the main screen. "This cannot be real," said the Aldari ambassador, his blue skin turning pale with shock. "The humans must have found a precursor artifact and copied the symbols without understanding them. Or worse," added the Krell representative, his rocky voice grinding like stones. "They found the homeworld already and are planning to use its technology against us. We've held the humans back from joining galactic society for decades," said the Vexen diplomat, her thin face tense. "We always feared their warlike nature. What if we were right to fear them?" Admiral Tai held up his hand for silence. "We don't know anything yet, but I intend to find out." He turned to Mina. "Bring the human in for questioning. Don't tell him what we've discovered. I want to know if he understands the significance of his tattoo." "And if he does?" asked the Cephian counselor, the oldest member present. Tay's face hardened. "Then we may have a bigger problem than one lost human soldier." Back in his cell, Jun had no idea of the commotion his tattoo had caused. He was trying to figure out how to escape when 2 guards appeared outside his cell. "The Admiral wants to see you," one said as the force field dropped. June was pulled to his feet, and his hands were bound with energy cuffs that glowed blue around his wrists. The guards led him through more corridors, deeper into the ship. They stopped at a door marked with symbols June couldn't read. The door slid open to reveal a stark room with a metal table and chairs. The guards pushed him inside and secured his cuffs to a ring on the table. "Wait here," one guard said, though June clearly had no choice. For several minutes, he sat alone in the silent room. Then the door opened again, and several aliens entered. June recognized their species from military briefings: Aldari, Vexen, Krell, Cephian, and 3 others he couldn't name. Last to enter was a female officer with metallic skin. She carried a data pad and studied June with careful eyes. "Human," she said in clear English, "I am Lieutenant Mina. I will be conducting your interrogation." June straightened his back and tried to look brave. But deep inside, he was afraid, very afraid.